Chapter 1. God-Level Talent. In the 18th year of the new era, in Dragon Country, at the newbie area on the outskirts of Yongning City. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, it's you. Wei Kai pointed his left hand at a small white rabbit with glowing red eyes, while his right hand slowly raised a rusty, old sword. The small white rabbit was the weakest monster in the newbie area. Its only attack was a simple bite, easily dodged with a slight movement. For beginners, the small white rabbit was the perfect opponent, ideal for practicing combat techniques, movements, and dodging skills. Most importantly, they were everywhere. Their numbers were practically endless, and they never attacked first. This kind of weak monster was exactly what Wei Kai needed, having just transitioned into a new profession. Thinking about it, he couldn't help but smile wryly. A month ago, Wei Kai had transmigrated into this world. He had gone from a freshman about to enter college to a high school senior on the verge of graduation. Everything had changed, except for his age and appearance. The biggest transformation, of course, was the world itself. 18 years ago, a game descended on Blue Star, merging with reality and starting the era of universal job transitions. The entire world was reshaped. Outside the major cities, the wilderness was overrun with wild beasts, demons, and mystical creatures. Humanity retreated to large cities, forced to live in fear while barely surviving. But amidst this chaos, there was a spark of hope. As the wild beasts roamed, humanity began transitioning into different professions: warriors, mages, assassins, and archers, turning these game roles into reality. Millions of people joined the fight. In the last 18 years, through the efforts of countless pioneers, a systematic understanding of job transitions had emerged. Professions were generally divided into three categories: combat, support, and life skills. Combat professions like warriors, mages, and assassins focused on fighting. Support professions were skilled in buffing allies, while life skill professions were essential for producing items like food, tools, and equipment to support the combatants. Though life skill professions couldn't fight, their importance was equal to the other two categories. As the Dragon Country's war god, Li Changyuan, famously said, "There are no useless professions, only useless job holders." Just half an hour ago, Wei Kai's teacher, Old Zheng, had quoted that line to console his students. Class 1514 hadn't done well in the graduation transition ceremony. Out of 50 students, only 3 successfully transitioned into combat professions, 7 into support professions, and the remaining 40, all life skill professions. Wei Kai, however, was one of the 3 lucky ones. He had transitioned into a glorious warrior. For the talented or wealthy, the warrior profession had branches with huge potential. It could rank among the top 3 professions with strong offense, defense, and overall capabilities. But for the untalented or poor, it was just a mediocre, average role. Oh, and let's not forget, everyone who transitioned also received a unique talent. Usually, talents aligned with a person's profession. Warriors got strength-based talents, mages received magic-related talents, and so on. Wei Kai's talent, though, was unusual. It didn't seem related to any profession at all. In fact, he had never heard of such a talent before. It was called Full Item Drop. Name: Wei Kai. Profession: Warrior. Level: 1. Strength: 5. Agility: 4. Magic: 1. Spirit: 3. Constitution: 6. Skills: Uppercut, Downward Slash. Talent: Full Item Drop. All items that a monster can drop will be dropped when you kill it. The description was simple and straightforward. Yet, after reading it, Wei Kai was still confused. Full Item Drop. Does this mean, whenever I kill a monster, every possible item it could drop will appear? After 18 years of the era of universal job transitions, authorities had documented most monsters' drops. Monsters could drop several different items when killed. Even the small white rabbit could drop rabbit meat or legs. Area bosses and divine beasts, on the other hand, might have over 1,000 different items. If all of those dropped at once, wouldn't this be a god-level talent? Wei Kai's heart raced with excitement at the thought. But he quickly calmed himself. This was his first monster battle since transitioning. Not only did he need to adapt to his new warrior abilities, but he also wanted to test this new talent. Could it really drop everything? Uppercut. He swung his sword, slashing through the air, but missed the rabbit's legs completely. Missed. His first attack was a miss. Wei Kai rolled his eyes. Although he had expected it, it was still annoying to experience. Despite being weak, the small white rabbit was known for its speed and agility. Most newly transitioned players needed at least 10 minutes to land an effective hit. Missing the first strike was common. Melee professions like warriors had it easier compared to mages and archers, who often found themselves outwitted by these speedy little creatures. Downward slash. Basic attack. Basic attack. Uppercut. Miss. 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 -1. Wei Kai didn't give up, launching attack after attack. Unfortunately, he kept missing, and the rabbit even managed to bite him once. The damage indicator, -1, popped up above his head. Despite his flurry of attacks, the rabbit had bitten him, and Wei Kai hadn't even scratched it. He almost wanted to cry out of embarrassment. Thankfully, the bite only took off 1 point from his 210 health. It was no big deal. Alright, let's try again. Wei Kai remained determined. He knew that every beginner had struggled with a small white rabbit at some point. Even Dragon Country's war god had been humiliated by these little creatures early on, nearly losing his life to a rabbit king. Chapter 2, a huge drop from a beginner monster. Uppercut. Basic attack. Basic attack. Downward slash. -5. Hit it. After a few minutes of getting his bearings, Wei Kai finally delivered a solid strike to the small white rabbit. A -5 floated above its head, a significant hit for a level 1 rabbit, almost draining half of its health in one go. With that powerful blow, 2/3 of the rabbit's health vanished, leaving it on the brink of death. Wei Kai seized the opportunity and followed up with another basic attack. This time, the rabbit couldn't dodge. A -2 appeared above its head before it let out a faint squeak and collapsed. Boom. In the next moment, the rabbit's body disappeared, leaving behind a pile of glowing items where it once lay. It dropped. Wei Kai's eyes widened, and his breath caught in his throat. Beginner monsters like small white rabbits rarely dropped anything useful, just a bit of experience and, if you were lucky, a copper coin. But today, the haul was far better than usual. Rabbit meat, dropped by the small white rabbit, can be used as cooking material. Rabbit leg, dropped by the small white rabbit, can be used as cooking material. Rabbit head, dropped by the small white rabbit, can be used as cooking material. Wei Kai quickly scanned the items. 3 different cooking ingredients from a single rabbit. It was as if he had gotten every possible piece of meat from the creature. And that wasn't all. There was even a recipe. Spicy rabbit recipe. After learning, you can cook spicy rabbit. The dish may vary depending on the ingredients used. Spicy rabbit, a rare dish that can randomly increase 1 stat point upon consumption, can only be eaten once per day. Attribute points were invaluable. Even though this dish only granted 1 random point per day, over time, it could provide a significant boost. Alongside the recipe, there was also an old, worn-out dagger and a type of herb. Blood-stopping herb, the most common medicinal plant. Consuming it restores 20 health points. Lastly, a strange white item caught his eye. Spirit herb fragment. Just those 4 words, no further description. Wei Kai glanced at it briefly before moving on, his excitement barely contained. This is real. The description of my talent is true. Full item drop. Everything a monster can drop will appear when I kill it. Wei Kai's face lit up with joy, his fists clenched tightly. It felt as if the entire world had fallen into his hands. When others killed a small white rabbit, they were lucky to get a single piece of meat, a bit of experience, or a copper coin. But Wei Kai, he had scored 3 different ingredients and a valuable recipe. This recipe was a jackpot for players with cooking professions. Without recipes, even skilled chefs could only make basic meals. Only with recipes could they prepare dishes that granted stat boosts or special buffs. If Wei Kai sold this recipe at the marketplace, it could easily fetch 100,000 gold coins. 100,000 coins, enough to support an average family for 5 years. And that wasn't even the craziest part. Along with the recipe, he had obtained a medicinal herb, a rare commodity. In this world, powerful beasts ruled the wilderness, and collecting medicinal herbs required venturing into dangerous territories. The more valuable the herb, the riskier the location. Even a 3rd-tier professional could lose their life gathering these materials. Though blood-stopping herb was common, it still held value, worth around $100 in the market. Yet, the most intriguing item remained, the spiritual herb fragment. Maybe if I gather enough of these fragments, I can form a full spiritual herb. However, without more details, Wei Kai could only speculate. Luckily, I have my talent, he thought with a smirk. Damn it, not a single drop. I've killed 50 rabbits already, and not even a piece of meat. A loud voice suddenly echoed from nearby, followed by a string of curses. Wei Kai paused and turned to see a tall, burly middle-aged man approaching. The man's level and profession were hidden, but judging by his equipment, he was likely a fellow warrior. What are you looking at? The man growled, noticing Wei Kai's gaze. With that sorry look on your face, you're probably just another newbie who can't even handle a rabbit. This was a beginner area, populated mostly by newly transitioned players. The rabbits here gave basic rewards, some experience and maybe a copper coin. After leveling up, even those small rewards would vanish. It seemed the man had come here specifically to farm rabbit meat, but judging by his complaints, luck wasn't on his side. He had killed 50 rabbits and received nothing in return. But that was normal. Despite his frustration, the man continued hunting. For someone of his level, killing a rabbit with only 7 health points was a trivial matter. Wei Kai wasn't fazed by the man's mocking words. In fact, he smiled faintly. The man had killed 50 rabbits with nothing to show for it, while Wei Kai could loot a treasure trove with a single kill. They were on entirely different levels now, why let it bother him? However, with this guy around, Wei Kai couldn't linger. Monster drops were visible to everyone, and he didn't want to expose his talent or attract unwanted attention. Until he grew stronger, he needed to keep a low profile. With that in mind, Wei Kai quietly left the area. 10 minutes later, he found a secluded spot and resumed hunting rabbits. Now more experienced, his next encounters went smoothly. The weak rabbits couldn't withstand more than 3 hits from him. Occasionally, a downward slash would finish one off in a single blow. Gradually, after slaying his 20th small white rabbit, a golden light flashed over him. Level up. Wei Kai let out a long breath. 20 rabbits, it wasn't an overwhelming task, but it certainly wasn't easy either. For a newly transitioned player, completing it in about 30 to 60 minutes was considered decent progress. Wei Kai glanced at his time, 49 minutes had passed. Subtracting the 10 minutes spent relocating, the actual time was 39 minutes. His combat skills were average, but when it came to loot, Wei Kai knew he was unmatched. Chapter 3, No Luck at All. 20 rabbit legs, 20 pieces of rabbit meat, 20 rabbit heads, 20 healing herbs, 2 cookbooks, and 20 bits of spirit herb fragments. Aside from the rare cookbooks, which don't drop from every rabbit, everything else dropped 20 times. If others saw this drop rate, they'd think he was lucky. But despite his name, Wei Kai had no luck at all. His new player backpack was stuffed full, leaving no room for anything else. The precious cookbooks had to stay inside, and the 20 spirit herb fragments seemed special, so they were best kept there too. After a moment of thought, Wei Kai took out 2 pieces of rabbit meat to hold. Although the drop rate was low, having any at all would make others think he was fortunate. It's time to head back. Wei Kai weighed the rabbit meat in his hand. Overall, this trip had been worth it. He had leveled up to level 2 and gained a solid understanding of warrior skills and attack methods. Most importantly, he had valuable drops. Just those 2 cookbooks could sell for 200,000 gold coins. With that money, he could finally buy some good gear. A warrior with equipment was completely different from one without. A warrior in top gear could deal damage and withstand hits, while one without was just a meat shield, soaking up damage with no real power. If he had the money, he could easily buy a fine long sword. Even at level 1, he could take down a rabbit in one hit. Instead, with his old sword, it took 2 swings to finish one off. Though the difference seemed small, the leveling efficiency was worlds apart. Moreover, those with money could wear good gear and tackle stronger monsters. They were already farming level 5 monsters, while he was stuck killing rabbits at level 1. But starting today, everything will change. Wei Kai's gaze was firm as he clenched his fist. With his new talent for full item drops, he could have as much top gear and rare materials as he wanted in the future. As long as he worked hard to farm monsters, one day, he would reach the pinnacle of the world. Whistle, whistle, whistle. On the way back, Wei Kai leisurely whistled. He returned to the spot where he had killed his first rabbit, only to find the grumpy uncle still there. The uncle was still grumbling. "Stupid rabbit, can't you drop some meat for me? I've been at this for half the day, and I should have killed at least 300. Not even a single rabbit hair. Is this reasonable? Who designed this game where monsters leave no corpses? They must be afraid of someone looting them. Otherwise, if I picked one up, I could just head back and call it a day." Sigh. "Drop something, will you? Damn it." Hearing this, Wei Kai quickly switched the rabbit meat to his other side to hide it from view. Little did he know, his movement had already caught the uncle's attention. "You rookie actually got rabbit meat." The middle-aged uncle was surprised, not expecting this newcomer to be so lucky. In just half an hour, he had dropped 2 pieces. "Just lucky," Wei Kai quickly explained. "Sell it to me, how about it?" The uncle suddenly dropped his annoyance, saying earnestly, "I really need a few pieces of rabbit meat, and I can pay you in gold." Sure." Wei Kai hesitated but agreed. His backpack was already full, so selling 2 pieces wasn't a big deal. "Since you're a newbie, I won't take advantage of you." The uncle paused, then said, "I'll buy your rabbit meat at double the market price, 10 gold coins each. That's 20 gold coins for the 2 pieces. Okay." Wei Kai hadn't expected him to be so generous, giving him 10 extra gold coins. This deal was quite profitable. After a moment, the transaction was completed, and Wei Kai now had 20 more gold coins in his bag. That was a significant amount. Enough to buy several pieces of beginner equipment. Typically, no one would offer such a high price for a few pieces of rabbit meat. Curious, he wondered why this grumpy uncle was so eager to hunt rabbits and willing to spend so much. "Uncle, kid," he was about to ask, but their words overlapped. The uncle was momentarily taken aback but then laughed. "Kid, I apologize for my earlier temper." It's fine. I didn't take it to heart." Wei Kai quickly waved his hand and then seized the chance to ask, "Uncle, you're high level. Why are you still hunting rabbit meat?" He couldn't see the uncle's level, but judging by his skills, he was at least level 20. It felt like using a cannon to kill mosquitoes. "Well, it's actually to cook for my daughter." The uncle smiled slightly, looking happy. "My daughter loves spicy rabbit meat. When I first switched classes, I dropped 3 pieces after killing just 3 rabbits, and we had a great spicy rabbit meat dinner that night. Ever since then, she's loved it. Unfortunately, after all these years, I haven't been able to find the recipe for spicy rabbit meat. The drop rate is outrageous. I wonder who designed this." As he spoke, the uncle couldn't help but grumble again. Hearing this, Wei Kai chuckled inwardly. "A recipe for spicy rabbit meat. I got 2 in half an hour. Oh, by the way." The irritable uncle suddenly remembered something and looked at Wei Kai. "My daughter is about your age and is participating in the transfer ceremony today. I hope she can come back and enjoy a good meal." Wei Kai was surprised and instinctively asked, "Could we be classmates?" "What school are you from?" "Shixiang number 2 high school. Class 1514. The uncle paused and then shook his head. "No, my daughter is in class 1501. Her grades are pretty good." Chapter 4, I Have Money Now. After the era of class transfers began, the wilderness was overrun by monsters, forcing the remaining humans to retreat into the cities. Yongning City became one of these megacities, now home to millions. There are 30 high schools in Yongning City, and Wei Kai's school, Shixiang No. 2 High School, is ranked in the middle. This year, the school has 15 classes, with students assigned based on their grades. The top students go to Class 1 and Class 2, while those with lower grades end up in Classes 14 and 15. The uncle's daughter is in Class 1501, which means she is among the top students in her year. When the uncle mentioned her decent grades, he was likely being modest. Suddenly, Wei Kai recalled a well-known figure, Li Qingxia, the school beauty who had recently become a flame mage. Could the uncle's daughter be her? "Uncle. What's your last name?" "Just call me Uncle Li." The uncle smiled warmly. Wei Kai paused, feeling a bit embarrassed. Could it really be a coincidence? "All right, I've got the rabbit meat. I should head back to cook." The uncle smiled and waved. You seem familiar with warrior skills and combat now. Head back and buy some good equipment to prepare for hunting level 3 wild boars. Rabbits are easy, but they give little experience and copper coins. Once you hit level 3, they won't give anything at all. Instead of wasting time here, it's better to get used to the combat strength of wild boars. Also, make sure to prepare a set of beginner equipment before heading to the wild boar forest. Thank you for the advice, uncle. Wei Kai nodded in appreciation. Though his teacher had mentioned similar things, it was nice to hear it again. He didn't hesitate to express his gratitude. Don't mention it. I'll be off. The uncle waved and left. After the uncle left, Wei Kai returned to the city. Instead of going straight home, he headed to the nearby Shixiang market. This is the largest market in the area, where you can buy almost anything. Hundreds of thousands of people come here daily to trade, supporting many livelihoods. As Wei Kai entered the market, he was overwhelmed by the noise. He had been here before but had never seen it so lively. Is there a new event or something? He looked around but didn't notice anything unusual and decided to move on. After walking a bit, he arrived at the front of a trading hall. This official trading hall had everything, and most importantly, fair prices. It was perfect for someone like him who didn't know much. Next door were private trading halls and auction houses, which often had rare items, but the prices were exorbitant. Only the wealthy dared to enter. They were said to exploit newcomers, lowballing prices when buying and inflating them when selling. A clueless newbie would be lucky to leave with their skin intact. Once inside the trading hall, someone quickly noticed him. A mature woman in a professional outfit approached him with a smile. Student, are you here to buy beginner equipment? Come this way, we have what you need. No, I'm here to sell. Wei Kai emphasized the word, sell. Oh, do you have something valuable? The woman raised an eyebrow, intrigued. 2 cookbooks. He didn't hide it and spoke directly. Cookbooks are good, but not earth-shattering. As a seasoned employee, she must have seen many. Hearing this, the woman laughed. Sounds good. I'm not familiar with cookbooks, let me get Uncle Liang to evaluate them. She turned and walked away, swaying her hips. Moments later, a gray-haired elder followed her and approached Wei Kai. Are you the one selling the cookbooks? Yes. Wei Kai nodded and took the 2 cookbooks from his backpack, handing them over. This was an official trading hall, so he didn't worry about getting cheated. Uncle Liang examined the cookbooks and was taken aback. Spicy rabbit meat. This was rare. Although it dropped from low-level rabbits, most players moved on after a couple of levels. Only new players would still hunt them. They typically only collected enough to level up and then left, making these drops quite scarce. Did you find these? Uncle Liang asked curiously. No, they're family heirlooms, Wei Kai quickly replied. He knew better than to flaunt his wealth. Both are family heirlooms. Liang raised an eyebrow. Yes. Wei Kai nodded, spinning a tale. When the game launched, my grandfather bought these 2 cookbooks for me to use later. But I'm a warrior now. Cookbooks were for crafting professions, and combat classes wouldn't waste skill points on them. His grandfather bought them as a backup, in case Wei Kai chose a crafting profession when he grew up. Hearing this, Uncle Liang nodded thoughtfully and asked, You're selling them to buy beginner equipment? Wei Kai nodded eagerly. Well, then. Uncle Liang smiled. The spicy rabbit meat cookbook is quite rare. I'll offer you double the market price. Xiao Ling, prepare a card for 40,000 gold coins. Yes. Xiao Ling, the mature woman, shot Wei Kai an envious look and left. A moment later, he received a brand new bank card, excitement bubbling within him. I have money. I finally have money. Chapter 5. Spending money feels great. Wei Kai's family wasn't well off. After the game merged with reality, the wilderness became infested with monsters, forcing the remaining humans to seek refuge in the big cities. To protect the weaker citizens, towering walls and magical formations were built around these urban areas. However, land within those walls is limited. With factories, farmland, rivers, and roads all crammed into the city, space is at a premium. To tackle this issue, the government began constructing underground cities in the 2nd year of the new era. By the 3rd year, when Wei Kai was 3 years old, his family moved to the 13th level underground. Since then, he has spent most of his life below ground, only returning to the surface during middle and high school to enjoy rare moments of sunshine and fresh air. Now that he has graduated high school, he is set to return underground to live as an ordinary soldier. But everything changed because of a special talent. "Classmate, please confirm," a gentle voice interrupted Wei Kai's thoughts. He looked up to see a mature woman smiling at him. "Okay," he nodded. The official trading hall is known for its fair dealings. It's essential to confirm everything before completing a transaction to ensure both money and goods are accounted for. Wei Kai pulled out his phone and scanned the QR code on his bank card. Instantly, all the information appeared on his screen. He already knew how much was in the card, but seeing that eye-catching number still made his heart race. 400,000 gold coins, enough to buy a 50 square meter apartment on the surface. With that, he could bring his parents back to the surface and live in the sunlight again, his dream and life's goal. But now, Wei Kai wasn't going to choose that path. "I want to buy equipment," he declared, raising his bank card with determination. "Spend it all." "What?" The saleswoman was taken aback. Uncle Liang, who had planned to leave, also stopped in surprise. "Are you sure, young man? That's not a small amount," Uncle Liang cautioned kindly. "Absolutely." Wei Kai nodded firmly. "But you're still a student," Uncle Liang began, trying to say more. Wei Kai shook his head. "No, I graduated today. I have the right to make my own decisions, and these cookbooks were given to me by my dad." His meaning was clear. The cookbooks were a gift from his parents, granting him the freedom to use the money. Uncle Liang sighed and smiled wryly, then waved to the saleswoman. "Xiao Ling, take him to the VIP counter." "Oh, okay." Xiao Ling nodded and gestured for Wei Kai to follow. The VIP counter is the best in the trading hall, where every piece of equipment starts at the legendary level, with even epic gear available. Each item's price is legendary too, costing at least 100,000 gold coins. Since Wei Kai wanted to spend all 400,000 gold coins, he aimed to buy the best. Soon, they arrived at the VIP counter. With the clerk's recommendations, Wei Kai purchased a set of beginner legendary equipment for 350,000 gold coins. He also bought several large capacity backpacks for 5,000 gold coins. In less than 10 minutes, he had spent all 400,000 gold coins. Looking at his now empty bank card, Wei Kai sighed. "Are you regretting it?" the mature woman asked gently. "No," Wei Kai shook his head. "I just think, spending money feels great." Xiao Ling was momentarily stunned. Spending money is indeed satisfying. For Wei Kai, that 400,000 gold coins was simply the reward he earned from the 2 cookbooks, which he had casually obtained while hunting low-level rabbits, no cost involved. With the talent for full item drops, every monster he hunted could yield a wealth of valuable items. Earning another 400,000 gold coins would be easy. Moreover, he bought this equipment to improve his monster hunting skills, making it an investment in himself. Investing in himself meant enhancing his combat power to hunt more monsters and collect more treasures. This was the path he intended to follow. "By the way, can I call you Sister Ling?" Wei Kai smiled and asked. "Of course," Xiao Ling replied with a smile. "Sister Ling, can I ask which monsters dropped the equipment I just bought?" "Ah." Xiao Ling was taken aback, then smiled and asked, "Are you thinking of hunting them yourself? If I can hunt a full set, will you buy it from me?" Wei Kai countered. "Of course." Xiao Ling replied confidently, adding, "We'll buy as many as you have." "Really?" Wei Kai felt thrilled, imagining he could sell them for a fortune. He thought, "I could sell enough to make you bankrupt." Of course, he wouldn't actually do that. Selling too many rare items could expose him. If his talent was discovered, it could lead to unnecessary trouble. Wei Kai wasn't that naive. "Really?" Xiao Ling smiled and said, "Since you spent 400,000 gold coins on equipment, you're our valued customer. So, I'll give you a free copy of the drop guide." "Oh, thank you." Wei Kai was relieved. Now he could choose the best monsters to hunt and go for it. After leaving the trading hall, Wei Kai found a rice noodle shop and enjoyed a bowl of noodles. As he slurped, he checked his new beginner equipment. This legendary level gear didn't just grant him a few extra skills or improved attack and defense, it significantly boosted his basic attributes. Basic attributes are crucial. In this world, attack, defense, and resistance are all directly linked to attribute points. Higher attribute points make attack and defense meaningful. As a level 2 beginner, his basic attributes were low. He gained only 1 point for each level up in the 5 main attributes, plus 5 free points. However, most people wouldn't allocate these free points carelessly without knowing their career path, fearing a costly mistake. Only those who are certain of their development route or come from wealthy families, unconcerned about the cost of reallocating points, would invest freely. Wei Kai hadn't allocated points either, so his basic attributes were low. The 3 most important attributes for a warrior, strength, agility, and constitution, were all below 10 points. But his new beginner equipment provided a total of 20 points across all attributes, equivalent to gaining 20 levels. And that's not counting all the additional benefits. It's no wonder it's legendary level equipment. Chapter 6, Fortunately, my skills are superior. After finishing his meal, Wei Kai knew exactly what to do next. He looked up at the sky and checked the time on his phone. It's already 3 p.m. There are still 3.5 hours until dark. I should make it. The leveling area he was heading to was just outside the city gate. If he hurried, he could still grind for at least 2.5 hours. Wei Kai didn't hesitate any longer and boarded the bus to the East City Gate. 10 minutes later, he got off the bus and headed straight to his destination, the East City Wild Boar Forest. This was also a beginner leveling zone, but the monsters here ranged from levels 3 to 12 and included various types. Besides wild boars, there were monkeys, wolves, tigers, and other wild beasts. Deep in the forest, elite monsters occasionally spawned, and defeating them would yield significant rewards. However, elite monsters were usually 3 levels higher than normal ones and had special abilities, making them tougher to defeat. If you weren't careful, you could easily get overwhelmed. Generally, elite monsters required a team to take down reliably. But for Wei Kai, all monsters had the same drop rate, 100%. Just then, a low growl echoed nearby. A tough-skinned wild boar charged at him. Wei Kai paused for a moment, then remembered that monsters above level 3 would attack on sight. Perfect timing. He quickly drew his newly purchased legendary sword and aimed at the charging boar. Upward slash. Wei Kai swung his sword fiercely. In an instant, the wild boar was knocked back by the immense force of the strike, landing several meters away. That hit took away half of its health, and Wei Kai rushed over for a finishing blow. Good thing my skills are better. Looking at the now lifeless boar, Wei Kai smirked with pride. His teacher had taught him that monsters above level 3 had innate skills, like the boar's charge. Even though the boar was only level 3, its charge skill had a power level of 15. This meant you needed at least 15 strength to withstand the charge without being knocked back. The greater the strength difference, the further you'd be thrown. A novice mage with just 1 strength would be sent flying over 10 meters. Getting knocked back wasn't trivial. Although the game simulated reality, you could still get hurt. If injured, you'd need to see a doctor or a healing class, otherwise, the debuff would linger, affecting your performance based on the severity of the injury. But with higher strength, the boar would be the one getting knocked back. Wei Kai, with 26 strength, not only withstood the boar's charge but also launched it away. This move not only halved the boar's health but also caused it to sustain injuries, allowing for an easy follow-up attack. This demonstrated the importance of base attributes. With a solid attribute advantage, killing monsters became as easy as chopping vegetables. However, not everyone could use this move. Not all novices like Wei Kai could have over 20 in all attributes at just level 2, nor could everyone afford legendary beginner gear. That was the power of spending money. After this reflection, Wei Kai turned his attention to the boar's drops. Another drop. Not surprisingly, the talent for all items dropping activated again. Despite being an ordinary level 3 monster, the boar dropped plenty of items. Over 10 pieces were waiting to be picked up. Wei Kai quickly collected everything and began to examine the loot. First, there were common ingredients. As prime hunting prey, the wild boar dropped a variety of materials: pork, trotters, head, ribs, heart, lungs, kidneys, and even intestines. Am I supposed to make a full pig from these drops? Wei Kai thought, noticing the boar's intestines. It reminded him of a video he had seen before. Without the right recipe, cooking it could lead to a questionable dish. Unfortunately, he didn't have a special recipe, just the basic, grilled meat, recipe, the simplest one to make. You just need fire and meat. Even if the grilled meat didn't boost attributes, it could fill your stomach and provide a basic buff. School taught that once you reach level 3 as a combat class, you should learn a campfire skill for cooking while leveling outside. In misty dungeons or caves, the campfire skill was even more useful. Wei Kai wasn't level 3 yet, so he wasn't in a hurry to learn. Besides the ingredients and recipes, the wild boar dropped several pieces of gear, 5 in total, including 1 high-level blue item and 4 ordinary white items. Wei Kai wasn't interested in these, but they could be sold to a vendor for copper coins. With a backpack holding 3,000 slots, he tossed everything in. After checking the gear, he looked at the remaining materials, wild boar tusks and bristles. Are these for making toothbrushes? Wei Kai wondered. Despite the factories being destroyed, human technology hadn't regressed. Daily necessities like toothpaste and toothbrushes were still available in stores. There was no need to make toothbrushes from wild boar hair. Whatever, I'll just keep them for now. All monster drops could be sold for money. Some merchants in the city specifically bought these materials, dubbed garbage recyclers. Their nickname might sound unappealing, but they were actually quite wealthy and knowledgeable, with numerous connections. What others saw as trash could be treasures in their hands. After reviewing these 2 materials, Wei Kai's gaze fell on the last item, and his eyes widened in surprise. Spirit Herb Fragment. He read the item's name softly. Yes, this final item was identical to the Spirit Herb Fragment he had previously dropped from the little rabbit. Could the wild boar also drop this? Wei Kai was momentarily stunned, then found a clean rock to sit on and pulled out his phone to search online. Chapter 7. Spirit Herb Fragment. Wei Kai searched online for a long time on his phone. The more he looked, the more confused he became. There was nothing. He couldn't find any information about the Spirit Herb Fragment, not even in the official drop lists. Could it be that in the past 18 years, no one had ever dropped this item while hunting rabbits or wild boars? How is that possible? Wei Kai was stunned, unable to believe the result. Could it be my special talent that caused this to drop? Yes. His talent guaranteed 100% drops of all items from monsters, which was why he had obtained the Spirit Herb Fragment. For an ordinary person, it might drop, but the chance would be extremely low, possibly near zero. But even so, it can't be completely absent. Wei Kai was more puzzled now. Then he considered another possibility. Unless someone had intentionally concealed this drop and erased all information about it online. Ordinary people wouldn't have the power to do that. Only the officials could. This Spirit Herb Fragment is important. Wei Kai quickly reached a conclusion that made his heart race. Anything that the officials went to such lengths to hide must be very significant, regardless of its purpose. Whatever, I'll keep it for now. He now had 21 Spirit Herb Fragments. Although he didn't know how many were needed to craft the so-called spirit medicine, his intuition told him it wasn't far off. Once he figured that out, Wei Kai resumed his monster hunting method. Wild boars were aggressive. Once within their attack range, they would immediately use their charge skill. All Wei Kai had to do was swing his sword, perform an upward slash to knock it away, and then dash in for the finishing blow. The entire process was seamless. The wild boar was a level 3 monster, yielding plenty of experience and copper coins, plus multiple item drops. The efficiency of grinding monsters was now night and day compared to before. With such high efficiency, Wei Kai focused solely on hunting. As for the drops, he only glanced at them occasionally. Half an hour later, after taking down the 15th wild boar, a pink glow on the ground caught his eye. A pink drop. He blinked in surprise and quickly picked it up, discovering it was a recipe. Spirit herb dish. He couldn't believe the wild boars here actually dropped the recipe for this dish. This was a valuable treasure. Monster drop recipes, like gear, had quality levels: common, white, high level, blue, rare, purple, and legendary, pink. Above legendary were epic, red, and mythic, gold. A legendary recipe could sell for at least 500,000 gold coins in the official marketplace. And this was a rare, spirit herb dish. Looks like this trip was worth it. Wei Kai grinned, recalling his thoughts when buying beginner gear. Investing in himself was clearly the right choice. As long as he could grind monsters quickly, coins, materials, and gear would roll in. In addition to the spirit herb dish, Wei Kai found 2 more recipes in his backpack: braised pork trotters and sweet and sour ribs. He even got 2 copies of the sweet and sour ribs recipe. While these were only rare purple recipes, they could still sell for a decent amount, about 100,000 gold coins each. It seems this wild boar forest is a treasure trove. Just level 3 wild boars could drop 4 types of recipes, including a pink legendary one. If he didn't grind them to extinction, it would be an insult to his 100% drop talent. With that in mind, Wei Kai set his sights on another wild boar nearby. "Hello, look at me." The wild boar charged at him with a roar. For nearly 2.5 hours, he continued hunting until his phone alarm rang, pulling him back from his excitement. In that short time, he had defeated nearly 50 wild boars and reached level 4. His backpack was overflowing with items. However, looking up at the sky, Wei Kai noticed it was getting dark. Time to head back. He quickly gathered the drops he had just collected and turned to leave. In Yongning City, dusk came at 6:30 p.m. After dark, regardless of profession or level, staying outside was dangerous. The wilderness became perilous, with many high-level monsters appearing, and even powerful bosses could emerge. These bosses became significantly stronger at night, at least 1.5 times more powerful than during the day. In such circumstances, anyone not foolish would avoid confrontation. The solution to dealing with nightfall was simple: hide in the city. Currently, there were only 108 major cities left in Longguo, each with a population over 1 million. Every city had tall walls and strong magical barriers to protect its residents. Once night fell, as long as you got inside the city, you were safe. If you couldn't return to the city, well, you were on your own. With half an hour left until dark, the wild boar forest where Wei Kai was located wasn't far from the East City Gate. It only took him 10 minutes to return to the city. In the wilderness, night signified the arrival of danger. But in the city, night marked the beginning of daily life. During the day, combat and support professions needed to explore and level up, while life professions were busy producing goods. Workers, farmers, and merchants also needed to do their jobs, contributing to the city's survival. Only at night did everyone return to the city, allowing them to relax and enjoy the fruits of their labor. That's why the city at night was often the liveliest. As soon as he got off the bus back in the West District, Wei Kai felt the excitement of the evening. The loud and bustling sounds hit him immediately. The streets were crowded with residents out for fresh air and returning combat professionals. Many stalls lined the streets, offering all sorts of snacks, clothing, and daily necessities. Wei Kai got off the bus, looked around for a moment, and soon spotted 2 figures waving at him. "Hey, Kai, you're finally back." The first person ran over as soon as he saw him. The other, a bit plumper, followed closely behind, eagerly catching up. "Did you wait long?" Wei Kai smiled, looking at his 2 good friends, Wu Yi and Li Changolin. Chapter 8. Do you believe it dropped from monsters? Wu Yi and Li Changolin were childhood friends of Wei Kai. The 3 grew up together in the underground community, attending the same elementary, middle, and high schools. Even when they weren't in the same classes, they always shared the same school. Their years of growing up together forged a strong bond, to the point that, in local dialect, they were said to be close enough to share the same pair of pants. When Wei Kai first arrived in this world, he was a bit overwhelmed by his friends' enthusiasm. However, after a week together, he began to appreciate their kindness and sincerity, gradually opening up to them. Recently, they all participated in the job transition ceremony at graduation. Unfortunately, Wu Yi and Li Changolin didn't become warriors or support classes. Instead, they both chose life professions. This gathering was Wu Yi's idea. He sent a message in advance, asking Wei Kai to meet him at the bustling night market after dark. "Let's go to our old spot. My treat," Wu Yi exclaimed, his short stature barely reaching Wei Kai's shoulder as he playfully slapped him on the back. Noticing this, Wei Kai turned to Li Changolin, who responded with a knowing look. "What's going on?" Wei Kai asked, sensing something was up. "Let's talk at our spot," Wu Yi replied, nodding but avoiding a direct answer. Soon, they arrived at a barbecue place called, with wine and meat, their usual hangout. Although they called it their old spot, they had only been there twice before, sneaking in both times. All three came from humble families and didn't have much pocket money for barbecues. Only around graduation did their parents give them a little extra to enjoy themselves. After ordering a few skewers and a bottle of beer, they settled down. "Can we talk now?" Wei Kai looked intently at Wu Yi, sensing his unease. If nothing was wrong, Wu Yi wouldn't have gathered them here for drinks. "I'm going to Sichuan to learn cooking from my uncle," Wu Yi said, taking a sip of beer and grimacing at the taste. "Why Sichuan?" Wei Kai was surprised. At the recent job transition ceremony, Wu Yi had become a chef, a versatile and sought-after life profession. People need to eat no matter what. As long as there's a need for food, there will always be chefs. Even if you can't afford recipes, a chef can set up a small shop in the community or a stall in the night market. It might not earn much, but it can feed a family. If you manage to get a good recipe, you could really turn things around, Wei Kai explained. "My uncle said if I work for him for 3 years, he'll buy me a recipe." Wu Yi quickly clarified. Hearing this, Wei Kai frowned. Wasn't this just wishful thinking? The saying goes, better to starve than to work for relatives. Working for family often led to being exploited, even if it was an uncle. "Don't we have recipes in Yongning City?" Li Changolin, who had been listening, finally spoke up. He didn't want his friend to leave and work far away in Sichuan. "Actually, we don't." Wu Yi shook his head with a bitter smile. "This morning, when my dad learned I became a chef, he checked all the trading posts and auction houses. He found out there wasn't a single recipe on the market. Seriously, I don't believe it." Li Changolin pulled out his phone, ready to check for himself. Wei Kai paused, then considered a possibility. "Someone must have stocked up on them early," he suggested. Every year, around this time, high school graduates transition into new jobs, creating a demand for skill books, especially chef recipes, which are the most popular and valuable. "My dad thinks so too, so I want to work for a few years, save some money, and buy one in Sichuan," Wu Yi confirmed. "Are the recipes cheaper there?" Wei Kai asked. "Yeah," Wu Yi smiled. "People in Sichuan love food, and many hunt various meats, especially rabbit, so the drop rate for recipes is higher." "Ah, that makes sense," Wei Kai thought. "Whoa, it costs 400,000 gold coins." Li Changolin suddenly exclaimed while checking his phone. "What?" Wei Kai and Wu Yi leaned over to see. "A recipe." Li Changolin pointed at the screen. "A spicy rabbit recipe is selling for 400,000 gold coins, that's outrageous." Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Wei Kai and Wu Yi widened their eyes, then exclaimed in unison, "That's crazy." Wei Kai never expected a recipe he sold for 200,000 coins at noon could suddenly sell for 400,000 coins. The official trading market was quite ruthless. Before he could finish his thought, Li Changolin shouted again. "Wow, it's sold out." "Huh." Wei Kai and Wu Yi stared at the screen, astonished at the sold out notification. A recipe for 400,000 gold coins sold out in the blink of an eye. No wonder people were stockpiling them, recipes were clearly in high demand. "You see, someone like me can't afford that," Wu Yi said with a bitter smile. With a recipe costing 400,000 gold coins, he couldn't even buy it if he sold himself. "But even if you work for 3 years, you wouldn't save up 400,000 gold coins," Li Changolin reminded quietly. Hearing this, Wu Yi sighed heavily. Seeing his friend's disappointment, Wei Kai decided to help. "Hey, Wu Yi, can you grill meat?" "Grill meat?" Wu Yi looked up, puzzled. "That's not difficult. For a chef, grilling meat was one of the simplest skills. If you couldn't do that, how could you call yourself a chef?" "I have a recipe for that." Wei Kai pulled out a grilling recipe from his backpack and handed it to Wu Yi. Both Wu Yi and Li Changolin's eyes widened at the sight of the purple recipe. "Where did you get this? Do you believe me if I say it dropped from a monster?" Wei Kai smiled back. Chapter 9, Is it open? It is. In the West Shang Grand Market, inside the official trading hall, Wu Xiaopeng nervously handed over a bank card and received a purple recipe book in return. The exchange was quick. Money in one hand, goods in the other. After getting the recipe, Wu Xiaopeng let out a heavy sigh, feeling a whirlwind of emotions. Today was significant. His son had graduated from high school and successfully transitioned to a new job. But no one expected his son to choose the profession of chef, a life profession that could determine his future. As the saying goes, a chef with a recipe is a true chef, while one without it is merely someone who can fry vegetables. To ensure his son didn't fall behind, Wu Xiaopeng searched all over Yangning City and finally found the spicy rabbit meat recipe here. But the price was steep, 400,000 gold coins. This was the most expensive item he had ever bought, draining the family's savings, including money set aside for a house. Originally, the boy's uncle had promised to buy him a recipe from Sichuan, but that came with the condition of studying cooking for 3 years. Wu Xiaopeng found this unreliable. Learning from his uncle would only set his son back during a time when everyone was eager to transition careers. Many parents wished their children could transition at birth, level up by 1, and face bosses by 2. Who would want their child to start at a disadvantage? If his son spent 3 years learning cooking, he would fall further behind. This is why Wu Xiaopeng decided to invest all his savings into this recipe. Once he placed it in his backpack, he felt a huge weight lift off his shoulders. Stepping out of the trading hall, he eagerly pulled out his phone and dialed a familiar number. "Hey, son, come home now. What's up? Good news. Are you with Changelin and Akai? Then come back together. Okay." 10 minutes earlier, outside a barbecue place on the bustling street, Wei Kai revealed the grilling recipe, leaving Wu Yi and Li Changelin stunned. Did this really drop from a monster? Your luck is incredible. Yeah, it costs 400,000 gold coins. Wow, that's enough to buy a house. You got such a good item on your first day. Are you kidding me? As they marveled and envied, Wei Kai chuckled, it's true. As life profession workers, Wu Yi and Li Changelin had no connection to combat and couldn't hunt monsters for experience, relying solely on hard work to earn money. Watching their old friend soar was bittersweet. Here, after their conversation, Wei Kai casually handed the recipe to Wu Yi, as if passing him a skewer of meat. Huh, Wu Yi was taken aback. He wanted to say something but hesitated. This recipe was incredibly valuable. Just take it. Wei Kai confidently placed the recipe in Wu Yi's hands. I'm only level 4 now. Once I transition, I can hunt monsters easily and get more recipes. By then, you'll have a hard time keeping up. Exactly, take it. Li Changelin chimed in. Brother Kai said he got it. If he can get one, he can get another. But, this is 400,000 gold coins. Wu Yi shook his head, smiling sadly. Just moments ago, they witnessed a recipe sell for such a high price. Even if I sold myself, I couldn't get that much. Nonsense. We're brothers, you're worth that much. Wei Kai retorted, insisting, learn it. I want you grilling meat for me every day. And don't let your brother down. Okay. Wu Yi took a deep breath. Brother Kai, my life is yours now. Just then, his phone rang. He was about to answer when Wei Kai stopped him. Learn the skill first. Alright. Wu Yi smiled resignedly. Learning skills was simple. As long as he had enough skill points, he could open the recipe and automatically learn it. Within a second, he mastered the grilling recipe. Afterward, he answered the call. Dad, I'm out. What's up? I'm with Brother Kai and Changelin, so I'll be home soon, okay. After hanging up, Wu Yi sighed and looked at his friends. Dad wants me to come home and said you should come too. Uncle Peng wants us. Wei Kai blinked, puzzled. What's going on? He said it's good news, Wu Yi replied. Li Changelin nodded. I'm fine with that. What about you, Brother Kai? I have some things to do, Wei Kai hesitated. He had gathered many materials today that needed sorting, especially the meat and several valuable recipes. Even though reality had become game-like, some things hadn't changed. People still got sick, and meat could spoil. Even stored in a backpack, it would only delay decay. If he didn't process the meat soon, it would go bad. Thinking of this, Wei Kai suddenly remembered, right, let me give you some stuff. He pulled out several pieces of pork from his backpack and handed them to Wu Yi. This is meat you got. No way. How do you keep finding all this? Li Changelin marveled. Being a combat profession is great. I wish I could go hunt monsters too. Aren't you an alchemist? Wei Kai smiled. You can still make some alchemy bombs to hunt monsters. It's not that easy, Li Changelin shrugged, frowning. I don't have the recipes, materials, or even a lab. With nothing, I can only collect junk gear to refine iron. Don't worry, you'll have everything you need. Wei Kai reassured him, giving him a supportive pat on the shoulder. Chapter 10. How is this possible? After parting ways with his friends, Wei Kai arrived alone at the West Shang Grand Market. He stood in front of two trading halls, hesitated briefly, and then confidently entered the private one on the left. Earlier at the barbecue place, he had seen a recipe he sold for 200,000 gold coins being resold for 400,000. It was clear that everyone was there to make money. Since the official and private trading halls offered little difference, he didn't see the need to visit the official one. Besides, he had just sold 2 recipes there earlier. Returning that night to sell more might raise suspicions. Inside the private trading hall, it was quite quiet, with hardly any customers. Only 4 or 5 bored receptionists were chatting. When they noticed someone entering, they turned to look. After a moment, one of them sneered, showing no interest. "Just another newbie here to buy starter gear," one muttered. "It's job change day, so it makes sense. Maybe he's in the wrong place," another laughed, unconcerned. This was a private trading hall for high-end transactions, and they didn't deal with ordinary starter gear. The newcomer, while somewhat handsome, clearly looked like a poor kid, probably in the wrong place. Didn't even check the mirror before coming in. One of the salespeople said loudly, glancing at Wei Kai. In truth, Wei Kai could hear their gossip without any need for raised voices. His attributes had improved, enhancing his strength, agility, and senses. He could hear distant and faint sounds and even pick up on others' emotions. The disdain in their words was palpable. He turned to leave but then heard a gentle voice behind him. "Hey there, do you need any help?" The voice sounded familiar. Wei Kai turned and was surprised. "Oh, it's you." The person who called out was equally surprised. "Sister Ling, aren't you?" Wei Kai asked, pointing to the hall next door. PFF'd. Tian Xiaoling covered her mouth and pointed to the side. "That's where I work. In this place." Wei Kai still had questions. "This is my family's business," she replied with a smile. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Wei Kai was dumbfounded. How could this be? Ignoring her own family's trading hall to work at the official one. What a waste of time. Well, the situation here is a bit complicated. I can't explain it all right now, Tian Xiaoling said with a gentle smile. But let's talk about you. What brings you here? Oh, right. She widened her eyes and examined Wei Kai before laughing. Looks like you leveled up quite a bit today. Are you here to get new gear? Actually, I'm here to sell something, Wei Kai replied quietly. What? Upon hearing, sell, Tian Xiaoling's eyes widened in surprise. You found. Shish. Wei Kai quickly gestured for silence. All right, follow me. She immediately understood and led him to the second floor of the trading hall. As they passed the group of receptionists, Tian Xiaoling shot them a knowing glance, causing them to lower their heads instantly. Once they reached the second floor, the receptionists dared to look up again. The previously silent one sighed in relief and pretended to pour water, eager to leave. The one who had whispered stood there, confused, while the one who had mocked Wei Kai looked furious and embarrassed, wishing she could quit but reluctant to give up the good environment and decent pay. No one expected that this seemingly ordinary guy would turn out to be a valued customer. Not only did he have the privilege of going to the second floor, but he was also personally escorted by the owner's daughter. Upon reaching the second floor, Wei Kai noticed it was quite luxurious, filled with rosewood furniture and famous artworks. Most importantly, it was quiet, and he could see the night view outside without being disturbed by noise. Make yourself comfortable, Tian Xiaoling said, gesturing for him to sit down. Not many people come here, right? Wei Kai asked. This is the VIP reception area, she explained with a smile. It's only used for receiving distinguished guests. Am I considered a VIP? Wei Kai replied with a smirk. Of course. Tian Xiaoling smiled back. You're someone who can spend 400,000 gold coins on starter gear. After 18 years of job transitions and having worked at the official trading hall for 3 years, she had never seen anyone spend so much on starter gear. For most, the starter phase passed quickly, and within 5 days, they would reach level 10, at which point all their gear would need to be replaced. Only true wealthy individuals would buy gear meant to be used for such a short time. Are you saying you see me as a big spender? Wei Kai pretended to be offended. Not at all, Tian Xiaoling chuckled nervously before adding seriously, I think you're a third type of person. What do you mean? You look like you don't have much money, but you don't care. Because you're confident you'll earn it back soon, right? She observed his reaction while explaining her judgment. Not bad, Wei Kai nodded, impressed by her insight. It was true that someone working in the official trading hall would have a keen eye. So, you're here to make money again? Tian Xiaoling asked with a smile. Yeah, Wei Kai laughed, admitting it openly. Since she had guessed his intentions, he decided not to hide anything. He then pulled 3 recipe books out of his backpack. Recipe books. Tian Xiaoling's jaw dropped, and she quickly covered her mouth to avoid showing too much surprise. How did you get so many recipes? If it had only been 1, she might not have been so shocked, but he had 3. If he were a seasoned player over level 60, she might have been less surprised. But Wei Kai was just a newbie who had just changed jobs today. How could this be possible?